What are you doing here, in the dark? The millionaire's sharp voice echoed through the empty office. He flicked on the lights and froze. There, hunched over a battered notebook, was the cleaner. Her uniform was stained from hours of scrubbing, but her eyes burned with determination as she traced every line of text under the weak glow of her phone. What the millionaire did next silenced the entire company. The last employees had long gone home. The office tower was silent, except for the hum of air conditioning and the distant sound of traffic far below. Amara, the cleaner, moved quietly between desks, her mop gliding across the polished floor. Her hands were rough from chemicals. Her back ached, but her heart carried a secret no one knew. She dreamed of becoming a lawyer every night. After cleaning, she would sit in a corner with her secondhand textbooks, memorizing every word by the faint light of her phone. She couldn't afford tuition, couldn't afford power at home some nights, but she could afford to dream. That night, she thought she was alone. But she wasn't. Richard Alkett, the millionaire CEO, had returned unexpectedly. A forgotten laptop had dragged him back to the office. He walked briskly through the dim corridors, his polished shoes clicking against the marble. As he turned the corner, his eyes narrowed. There, in the dark, sat Amara, her uniform damp with sweat, her face illuminated by the dim glow of her phone. As she scribbled notes furiously, "What are you doing here, in the dark?" Richard's voice cut through the silence. Amara gasped, snapping her notebook shut, hiding it as if it were contraband. She rose quickly, bowing her head. I'm sorry. Sir, I was just finishing up, but Richard had already seen. He picked up the worn notebook, its cover bent, its pages filled with neat handwriting and highlighted passages. He frowned. "Law?" he muttered, scanning a page. "You're studying law?" Her cheeks burned with shame. "Yes, sir." "Only when?" "I have time. I can't afford school." But I read every case I can find. The silence that followed stretched endlessly. The cleaner braced herself for mockery, for dismissal. Instead, Richard sat down at the desk opposite her. He stared at the notes for a long time, his expression unreadable. Finally, he spoke. "Do you know what time I left this building when I was your age?" She looked up, startled. "No, sir, midnight. Every night. I didn't have money either, but I had books, and I had hunger. The kind I see in your eyes right now." Amara blinked, not trusting her ears. You're not angry?" Richard leaned forward, his voice low but firm. "Why would I be angry at someone trying to change their life?" The next evening, Amara returned as usual. But this time, the office wasn't silent. Waiting at the desk was a lamp, a stack of law textbooks, and a note in Richard's handwriting. No one should study in the dark. Our tears blurred her vision as she touched the books. For the first time, someone believed in her. Weeks passed. Each night, after cleaning, Amara found more surprises, printouts of case studies, practice exams, even a laptop left open with bookmarked resources. She studied harder, faster, her confidence growing, but whispers began to spread. Other employees noticed the cleaner staying late, noticed the books, noticed Richard's quiet support. Some mocked, some sneered. "Does he think a maid can ever be a lawyer?" One scoffed. "She embarrassed him." Watch. Richard ignored them all. "Let them laugh," he told her. "One day they'll stand when you walk into the courtroom." Months later, the test results arrived. Amara held the envelope with trembling hands, too afraid to open it. Richard stood beside her in his office, silent. Finally, she ripped it open. Her knees buckled. Tears flooded her eyes. She had passed top 3% in the state. Richard's hand tightened on her shoulder. "I told you." Hunger wins. The news spread like fire. The same employees who once mocked now whispered in awe. Clients who had never noticed a maid now asked about her story. The media picked it up. Cleaner passes law exams with help from CEO. From mop to law school, the courage of Amara. She was offered scholarships, internships, and a seat at one of the top universities. At her farewell gathering, Richard raised his glass. The entire company stood. Ladies and gentlemen, he said, his voice steady. Tonight we honor someone who taught us all something vital. Success isn't about money or position. It's about hunger, courage, and refusing to let the dark stop. You, to Amara, who studied in the shadows, but will shine in the courts. The room erupted in applause. Amara stood, clutching her books, tears streaming down her cheeks. She whispered softly, more to herself than anyone else, "No more studying in the dark. This story reminds us, greatness isn't born from privilege, but from perseverance." A mop in. Her hand did not erase the fire in her mind. A uniform did not silence her dream. And a millionaire's unexpected kindness proved that sometimes one light in the dark can change everything. What about you? Do you believe hunger and persistence matter more than privilege? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more cinematic stories of courage, justice, and hidden heroes.